We're going live. We live, right? Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Today is what Friday. The day doesn't matter. Um, we begin. We continue with a series, another discussion, and this will be interesting actually. So, as the assumption is that you think about moving to somewhere in the continent, and accommodation is a big deal. And so, there's no one for all.
Mhm.
People have where they find themselves living. So tonight, we're gonna take a crack at it. Let's start with our first question: rural living versus city living. Which is right for you? So the assumption is that right for you, meaning if you're individual, you have to consider it's you. But if you're a family with all these dynamics, and then you have to factor which one is right for the family as well. And so, some people want to be out of the city. Some people want to be a little bit inside the city. So, which one is right for you guys? If you guys have to move right now, with your circumstances, where do you think you find yourself somewhere in the eastern region, somewhere, or Takrady somewhere outside, or you find yourself in the middle of the city? Um,
You want me to take it?
yes, take it.
Okay. So naturally is the right word. As an Africans, we kind of gravitate towards the city. So then even in our day to day living, you know, when the child grows up in the village, you
Great
go,
point.
you know, go to primary school, secondary school, go to university, and invest secondary school, university mostly are in the cities. Okay, so if it's in the eastern region and he lives in Begra, okay, and then he goes to secondary school in Koforidua, um, and so then he goes to Legon in Accra.
Hmm.
Such a person would never go back to eastern region,
Mm.
Begra
Mhm.
or Koforidua. He
Good
will get
point.
a job in Accra and stay in Accra. You know,
Mm.
um, Accra used to be small,
Mhm.
and because of that drift, now Accra is big.
Hmm.
However
And,
unplanned it is,
and getting bigger.
Accra
Yeah.
has become very big. So
Yeah.
so
Great
naturally,
point.
even people who are here in the States or UK, wherever they are, would buy land in Accra because of commercialization. Everything is in Accra. Everything is centered in Accra. You really want to go shopping, you're going to Accra. You know, um, so people, Accra is popular. You know, I don't know other regions. All I know is Accra. I know people talk about Kumasi, but I've never lived there, and so I don't have any plans to go live in Kumasi. Like even in Accra, even Kumasi is bigger. Okay, so as Ghanaians, we most Ghanaians would like to live in the city. Um, but but then you also realize, man, Accra is massive. You know, some parts are very
Hmm.
planned, and some parts are not. They're not planned. So
Mm.
there's that frustration. And that hustle and bustle. You know,
Hmm.
and Accra may be pleasing to some people, and Accra may not be pleasing to other people, depending on where you live. Your proximity to the shopping
Good
centers
point.
or banks and stuff. And Accra is also a place where um, you can live in East Legon, an airport residential area, where you can have a residential area that looks like somewhere in the States. Or you live in a place that is really not developed. The roads are not done. Drainage systems are not done. There's no water. You have to have your own source of water. So there's that dynamic. So
Hmm.
rural living versus city living. I would like to balance the two. I would like to balance the two, especially if I have the resources. I would like to have a
Hmm.
place in Accra that I can come in. I can come in and go. I
They
can
have
come in.
Accra proper though, and then Accra. So where Accra proper, or
Accra. I mean,
I
for
guess
now,
fake Accra.
most of us,
Yeah.
most of us are building. So we are centered around. We are very close to the airport. So I'll say a central Accra.
Okay.
Am I right?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even though that location seems to be a new location, it is around
Mm-hmm.
the airport. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say central. Um, you know, so but the hustle and bustle, I feel I get tired of it, especially in my retirement years.
Mm-hmm.
I will get tired of it, you know, and I would like some serenity. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll like a place
Great
like
point.
Ebri, Akosombo, or somewhere in the central region where it's close to some kind of lake or river where I can, go sit and just chill. You know, um, I just will be tired of the traffic.
Good
I
point.
just will be tired of it, man. It, you know, um, I just be tired of it. The filth in some places, the dust in the air, the pollution. I think when you get
Mm-hmm.
out of that city, life becomes a little bit better. Quality of life, even
Great point.
the air, becomes better. It becomes better than you know
Good point.
where you have pollutants, you know, tires being burned in the air, Um, so, and then when you get out of a car, when you're looking for land, in this, in terms of size, you get more land for the money they have. So, I think it's really, and you can build whatever you want over there. You can do whatever investments you want to do over there. So there are benefits in getting out of the city,
Hmm.
you know. But that's what I'm saying. I would like to have all of it because this is Ghana and everything is centered in Accra. If you really want to do business, you want to do anything, so having a house in Accra is good. Having a
Mm-hmm.
house in Accra is good. And then having something outside Accra is also good. That's what I think.
Let's say if you can only do one option, where would you go?
If I can only do one option, I will do I'll do Oyarifa. I'll do Oyarifa, close to the mountains, just like our brother Eric, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where you can enjoy some Ibri and Accra. I'll do, or Kaswa, outskirts of Kaswa, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Great point.
you know, getting away, because I want that quietness, you know, um, Dodoa area, I think Prom is also a very good area, you know, but you still have
So
to
like
drive.
so
You,
kind of like a midpoint, right? Not
right,
in the
Yeah,
city, but not too far.
having a good balance where you have proximity to
right.
either side.
Yeah,
Not
you
bad.
still have to travel minimum 45 minutes to come to the city, but that you can manage,
Yeah,
you know. So
Mm.
I
yeah.
think
What do you
for
think?
me, right, for me, um, if I were to choose this, um, I would factor in what it is that I want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if I said
Good
I
point.
wanted to go into large scale farming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can build my city in a village. I can have all the pleasures a city can have on this massive land, right? That is cheap, probably cheaper than two plots in Accra. You know what I
Good
mean?
point.
So, so you have, you put yourself, if you were going to go into farming, that would be one way you say, you know what? There's no need for me to have a house all the way in Accra when I have to keep coming all the way to this rural place to do my work, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have to drive all the way back, right? So you can create your own quote unquote city on that land, right? Have everything the city will give you.
Good point.
And then when you need to, you go into the inner city to do whatever you need to do, right? It's almost like you're going Costco shopping, you know, and then you come home and then you enjoy, your sports at home. If that's something,
I'll put a price tag on this.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's say you have $300,000.
Mm.
Where will you live?
$300,000.
Yes. where will you live?
If I
Will
had three
you
hundred thousand
will you
dollars,
build in Accra, buy a place in Accra, or build something rural? If you have to pick one, so that is the budget, right?
okay,
The budget you have. Let's
Eh,
say um for accommodation, right?
okay, all right,
Because if you have a lot of money, then you can go outside and duplicate a lot of stuff, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
build a city.
yeah,
But I can say most people probably we don't have that yet.
yes,
So you have to be choosing, right,
okay,
between
yeah,
certain things. So if you let's say the budget is $300,000
okay,
for accommodation,
yes.
where do you think you want to live?
I'll live somewhere rural because I can stretch
Okay.
my money further, right? I can stretch my money further in the sense that I live in this place where I probably are going to like I'm going to be the person defining what structures come into that area going forward, right?
Mhm.
Because when you build something in a space and it's the only thing there, when people come around, they start saying, "Oh, I can't afford to build like that, so I'm not going to buy land here," right? Or
Mhm.
that looks like my style, so I'll buy land next to them, right? So
Yep.
basically, you set the tone, and the fact that we limited it to 300,000. If you buy land, and when we say rural, right? Rural can be, even at the foothills of February, still in the Greater Accra region, right? But it's rural.
Mhm.
It's not in the inner city, and you're gonna get land for cheaper, right? You're gonna have your peace and quiet for the most part, and if you
Mhm.
need to, you can get into the city. It's like you know, look, people live
Good
close
point.
to the heart of the city of Accra, right, and spend an hour in traffic, right?
Yep.
So you're gonna get in traffic, but the
Great
traffic,
point.
the point where we're gonna get stuck in traffic, it's not where you're coming from. It's when you get close to Accra. So the drive down shouldn't be a problem. You're gonna get stuck in the traffic anyway, right?
Mhm.
But
All you need is some reliable
Point.
vehicle,
mm,
right? And you stretch your money.
so I'll say this: my reason for you know accepting to building a car. It might sound crazy, but I just don't want to drive those hours when I land.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh
Mm.
yeah, yes,
I just
yes.
I just don't want to
Great
drive
point.
2 hours traveling. And I know. So one of the places I really would love to have a property in, in Akosombo, beautiful town, clean town. All the roads are paved. You know, but then I don't want to drive 2 hours.
No do
When I
so.
land at 10 p.m., drive all the way. And I know there's an option to sleep in a
Mhm.
hotel and maybe go the next day. It's okay. I like it, but then having something in the car, it's if you have the money, having something in the car, having a property in the car is good because the city is growing.
Mhm.
The city is growing. I
Mhm.
mean, in 10 years, I believe Accra would have developed to a certain level where it is going to be one of the best commercial cities in Africa.
Mhm.
You know, and
Mhm.
so why not get it now if you can afford it?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think most of the roads that we're complaining about now will be done. You know,
Hopefully.
Knock on wood.
knock on wood. You know, um,
Can I
I
have for
believe
president?
especially if you're situated in one of the prime areas. You know, it's going to be a great city. So there's nothing wrong with having something there. So I really don't want to drive all the way 2 hours away from
Mhm.
Accra just because I don't have a property in Accra. You know,
Yeah, I think I answered this question, right? I answered this question from a different perspective. Not that I'm traveling from here, getting to Ghana, right? And I need to get to my house,
right,
right? That is the reason
Mhm.
why we all, building close to the airport, like,
right.
close to the airport, like relatively close to the
Mhm,
airport, instead of building in, the eastern region or,
mhm, mhm,
the western region,
mhm.
right?
Right,
So we build something closer just because we don't want to deal with that, right?
right,
We've seen these videos going around of people being targeted,
right.
right? People are getting tracked from the airport when
Mhm,
when they leave, right?
mhm.
So the longer you have to drive and the more what do you call it,
Good point.
isolated a place you have to drive to,
Mhm,
the more likelihood there is someone is going to come to you and attack you. When
mhm,
you live in the
Mhm.
city and you are in traffic all the
mhm,
way to the house,
mhm.
right? It
Mhm.
hurts to be in traffic, but you kind of guard it,
Mm.
right?
But we
Mhm.
shouldn't forget that I just want rural living, especially if you're able to manage rural living very well. I think the quality of life is better.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
less pollution.
landslide.
I mean, could be better, right?
You know,
So I
Well,
mean,
yeah, if you have Tony, if you have 300,000, right, and you can buy some land on you know, we call it rural somewhere in Ebury, right?
mhm,
You can do something on that with that 300,000 that will give
mhm,
you this haven when you're at home.
mhm,
Solar,
mhm,
borehole,
mhm,
right? You have all these things.
mhm,
You have, nice land space. You have some
yeah,
dogs, whatever, right? You have some greenery. The
mhm,
weather is nice,
mhm,
right? You can do that with that money
mhm.
yeah,
compared to having to do that, you know, close to the airport.
yeah. I'll put in my submission.
All right.
So there's a
Welcome,
couple of
Alex.
things. Alex, thanks for joining us. So there's a couple of things. So there's two things primarily. If one is the accommodation, what do you need to be comfortable in the house, right? Now, if you and then the other thing is when you leave your house or when you have to
Mhm.
leave your house, right? It's funny because when I started at Kaswa House, I love the fact that it was like rural at that time, right? But as I finish, and then I'm looking at, okay, if I want to access Leicester Hospital, if I have to look at hospital, if I have to get access to even like land commission, right? If you have to get certain things,
It's online
the
now.
dr- yeah, yeah,
I'm
right.
just messing with you.
The driving, right? Sometimes the driving, so it might not be a daily thing, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes the driving, can become like really, really a hustle when you have to, go back and forth. And so let's say if you're retired, right, and stuff like that, you just enjoying that life. I would say probably rural or somewhere in between is probably will be the best option. You can have your gardening. You can still do that if you have the plot, bigger plot in the city, which is because now the city is so expanding, right? So when you say the city, it's going like the radius has been increased. So I think it's different because it's like you have to look at it. What is it that you're trying to do, and how you're trying to live? Then, and what is a requirement for you? So you can, if you don't have to, like, there's certain businesses that you have to be in a city because that's where the people with the spending purchasing power are, right? And then certain businesses you can run in the rural areas, and stuff like that. So, but then the question becomes too is like 5 years from now when something changes, will you, if you're in a city and something changes, do you want to like wish you have moved to the rural area, and stuff like that? So it looks like a simple question, but I think it is a little bit complicated because you have to trade. You really have to trade something.
Mhm.
You can't be in the rural areas and have it all, and you can't be in a city and have it all.
Yeah.
So what is it? The ideal one would be when you are kind of like maybe 35 minutes from the city or 40 minutes from the city or something like that. But then the city is expanding so much, 35 minutes from the city, 5 years from now will be the city, right? And so that's what Kaswa has become, really, right? Is by, so right now, there's no land in the area compared to when I stand, there's nothing. There's all buildings all over. And it's like from Ouija to, sometimes you don't even know it's like the central region,
Mhm.
right? Because it's just
It's like blended in.
urbanization and stuff like that. So even your urban areas are becoming the city. So how urban do you want to go? How really urban you want to go? So I think for me is it depends. If I have to pick right now, I mean the car park things to say is like maybe 35 minutes. Cause on a Sunday is about 35 minutes to the airport. But other than that, it's taking me about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. If it's traffic, 2.5 hours from the airport to get home. And and maybe now I can tolerate it because I don't have to come to the city every day unless when construction is going on. But guarantee when it's construction, I'm leaving 5 a.m. right? Leaving 5 a.m. so I don't get stuck in traffic. But if I have to pick one, like as of right now, at this moment, I'll probably do the city for now. Now later on, I'll probably go rural. But at this moment, I'll probably be in a city, yes, and take the risk of high pollution and traffic, congestion, and all that stuff. But then also, I can have access to some of the amenities and the type of businesses that I'm looking at. So that'll be the trade. That'll be the trade for me. Alex, what do you think? Where are you gonna be?
Um, I think, I mean, when it comes to those two, it depends on where you are in life. You know, um,
Great points.
most of us grew up in the city. I remember being you know, a young teen. I don't know what age that my grandmother used to take me to where my grandfather had a farm, and I hated it. Okay,
Mm,
but if you ask me today, maybe I'll choose that, right?
mhm,
Because of wisdom and knowledge that I've acquired over the years. Okay.
mhm,
So I would say it all depends on where you are in life. If
mhm,
you're
Great
still
point.
in hustling and bustling type mentality, business mind, you may want to be somewhere closer to where all the businesses are, right?
mhm,
But if you're
mhm,
settled
Good
and you
point.
have everything taken care of, you just want to lay back, chill. Like Eric said before, you can get few acres, make it a haven, have everything in there, all the amenities that you need in life. Like when you come to
mhm,
Texas, you go to all these um, ranches, and it's not, the nice one. When you see it, it's a
mhm,
haven, you know, and they go to the cities and do their business, but that's the kind of people that they are, right? But with
mhm,
us, like I said, most of us, if we're talking about us, we grew up in the city. So
mhm,
it would take a lot to leave that lifestyle
mhm.
and go into the rural area like Tony. I mean, you have to be like
Good
80
point.
because you always party. I don't know how you're gonna party in the rural area,
He's gonna build it.
you
He's gonna
know?
he's gonna build a nightclub on the ranch.
So I don't know, you know, I don't know how you're gonna do it. So your answer was perfect, you know. You're not ready to go there yet. But
Not yet.
for some people, man, with age, brings wisdom.
Mhm,
And the more I look at things now, yeah, the city life is good, but I would like to be somewhere, man,
Great.
that I don't have to deal with a lot of the videos that you guys sent today while
Mm,
I'm
mhm,
driving, somebody
mm,
opening my door and trying to
mm,
rob me. You know,
mhm,
I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. When I'm in the bushes with my ATVs and
mhm,
stuff like that, nobody
mhm,
knows what I'm doing,
mhm,
you know?
mhm,
So I can hide and be safe and things like that. But if we're still in the mindset of
Good point.
doing business, hustling, doing this, then you got to be. And, if you're chasing tails, you got to think about that too, you know,
mhm.
because you're not going to get all those nice females, Tony, in the rural areas.
Why am I
Isn't
getting
that right,
shot?
Tony? Huh?
Well, I don't know. I have to do a research. I have to do a research on that. Give me about a
Oh,
month. As far as I know, everybody's coming to the city, so I have to do some research. Give me about a month.
but let me give you an example. Like right now, if I have to choose, right?
Yeah.
Even though Accra is the capital, the business center, right?
mhm, mhm,
But being in Kumasi brings a lot. You save a lot on food, on other items, a lot of stuff, right?
Great point.
Or being
Mhm,
in like Takoradi, being in Cape Coast, it doesn't being in Aburi. There are certain areas that, when it comes to saving money, those are the places to be. But I understand where we are in life today, right? I understand the mindset that we have and things like that. But like somebody like Nanel who is trying to get this massive place, right? That's not the city. You know, he would like to maybe use that as a haven because it's a place where you get that serene type life. You don't have to deal with a lot of drama other than people defecating on the by the beach. Other than that you have to worry about, everything else is great. you know you can hear the
Mhm.
birds, you can hear the breeze, you can feel everything. And then you have to deal with the city life with all the crazy mess and things like that. So you have to put a lot of stuff into perspective,
Mhm.
and make sure you're doing what's best at that
Great
particular
points.
time for you and your family. You may like it, your kids may not like it. So it depends on where you are in life,
Mhm.
you know?
Correct. All right. Let's this question. Um, I think there's a fair this is a fair question, and there's a point to it because most of the time when you said money is not an option, you can see that most people would rather live closer to the city. And with land prices, we know for a fact, right? And food, like Alex said, is creeping up. But with land prices going up, I think the cost of land alone is pushing a lot of people into outside Accra,
Mhm.
right? It's just um even some of us, right?
Mhm.
And we know the prices are going up month to month, right?
Week to
And
week.
so, well, week to week, even sometimes. So, how is it? What are the percentage of people that actually want to live in the rural areas, and what are the percentage of people that have been influenced because of the cost of land and just the cost of now food, rent, and everything across? What do you think? Is it 50%? Is it 50% are moving to the rural because of this cost, or what do you think?
I I was going to say, um, see, most of us here might have the capital, okay, to build something in Accra. But I would say this: it is also very important to look at the rural areas. You know, so a group of 10 people here can put money aside, go into a rural area, buy 50 acres for cheap. The
Mhm.
labor is cheap. The cost of
Mhm.
building is going to be cheap.
Mhm.
Okay, and you can have a great idea of how to build that neighborhood.
Mhm.
You go and then own it, because I mean you're talking about price of land in Accra, and we also know that a city is growing out, is growing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so these areas that we call rural today, I mean, few years ago, like 20 years ago, Kaswa was a rural area, you know, but
Yep.
now it's not. Prom Prom.
Yep.
Prom Prom is not.
Mhm.
I mean, it's almost like a cry now. For me, when we talk about Prom Prom, I see Prom Prom as a cry. So it is very important that these places that we call rural right now, we take advantage of it. You know,
Mm.
in our building endeavors.
Good
So
point.
that you can come together, build this great place that you want instead of just concentrating on the car where everything is. It's not just the cost; it's just the swindling. The the scamming, the line scamming that
Mhm.
is also an issue. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just wanted to put that one in there. Um, so yeah, the city living is going to force people to go to rural areas, and it's
Mhm.
okay. It's okay, especially when you have businesses in the rural areas. And let's not forget, agribusiness is the main stake of the people in Ghana. Agriculture is what we do. Okay, so
Mhm.
you are in the rural area and you have rural land, you can do a lot with it. I know most of us don't really take agric seriously, but it's man, it's
Oh, we
we
do.
do,
We eat a lot of food.
yeah, you know. So it's not just Accra, which is you know Accra is a commercial center, but let's also look into the rural areas of what we can do with land in the rural areas. You
Question
know,
for you on that. This take Naya, can you take this
Mhm.
question?
Can you find skills construction people? Oh yeah, you can. You can. I mean,
In
but I
general,
would,
though,
I
take
would,
like
I would hire the engineer from the city. You know,
okay.
That's really all you need, right?
that's all you need.
A
That's all you
skilled
need.
person in charge,
That's
right?
it. But
That's
the
it.
volunteer ones at the manual labor, yeah,
You're
you can get
stretching
it
your
in
money.
the, yeah, you can get it. You can get it in the village. But
But that
so
engineer will probably charge you crap prices.
right, and
That's fine. You
that's fine.
you you make you make it back on the
So,
other people,
Yeah,
right? You
that's
make it back on other people. If you really
right.
wanted to, right? If you really wanted to, you can take each skill, right? Take one person from Accra, right? And then have
mhm.
understudies like the helper masons and stuff. Like
Right.
that, for example, masonry. You
Mhm,
take the lead mason from Accra, and then you
Yeah.
take the helper masons. You
mhm,
know, the lead mason does the setting of of whatever structure they need to build, and other people just follow
mhm, mhm.
on that, and you pay them less.
Right.
You
Right.
you also have to factor in what you're trying to build because what you're trying to build, sometimes you don't want on the land job on certain things, right?
Mhm,
Right.
mhm,
Because sometimes the lead engineer is not going to be on the site 24/7.
Mhm,
He will come over there, supervise, leave the guys. Hopefully they're doing the job.
mhm.
And sometimes when it get to a point, nobody's here. Yeni say, "Feraha,"
Mm.
right? And so by the time you come in, so it depends. There's a couple of things. There's some things that you just got to get some guys to just who have actually some experience in executing that particular work.
Mhm.
Then you always gonna have low skill labor somehow.
Yes, yes.
But the people that are touching the critical, the kind of like structure and making sure the slope of the plumbing, and all those things like that. You want like a team to be, the experienced guys to handle it.
I mean,
Because if he
so
goes back to the city and you need him, you
mm,
gotta pay for transportation
mm.
to come back and
I
and
mean,
that kind of stuff.
who I don't know who asked this question, but don't go cheap just because it's
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
village.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if you say you're gonna hire, you know, everybody from the village,
Good
then
point.
man, they'll build a village house for you. They'll build. I mean,
It'll give you a hat, a
so
circular hat.
don't go cheap. I mean, um, talk to the right people, okay? And on this panel, I probably know some right people to talk to who will help you recruit some
Mhm.
the guys who handle the real job, the big the engineer, the masons, and then you can go into the rural area and then um, do your project, but don't go into the village and then go give your 2-story New York apartment to uh
Someone whose expertise is building mud houses.
Kojo Besia,
Ah,
Great points.
So no, I think for me, I'm seeing this because so after the Kaswa house, when I was thinking about okay, I wanted to be a little bit in the city, closer, not too close. I think one of the things that I was factoring is just the cost of land. You know, I'm like, this is just ridiculous, right? And for me, I had my mindset is like, okay, this land are not worth this much. They want. I don't care what they're saying. I don't think you should put that much money into that. So you kind of like work your way from the city and go outward and see the land prices, right? And sometimes you go like maybe 10 miles and you're like the difference is not that much, and so you keep going. And I think a lot of people that are looking now, unless you grew up in a region that you like the vibe, you want to move back. But if you're a city guy, most people are just trying to be on the peripheral of the city. So whatever, if they go further than that, is the cost. Which number one is the land, which is just ridiculous, right? And so eventually, what is going to happen, and you see this also in rental right now. Rental, people are moving to Cape Coast now because of rent. They can't afford Accra. right? They were born in Accra. They live there all their life. They just can't afford it. You get like a tiny little room with nothing going on. They want 1,000 cities. Meanwhile, your paycheck is 1,500.
Hmm.
You need transportation. You need food. You need all these things, right? And so they are just moving, moving outside. So I think it's becoming a really big factor that people who otherwise want to be in the city now they find themselves they just can't afford it.
Mhm.
They really can't afford it. So I think if I have to put a number, I'll say at least 50% of the people are making this decision based on the prices of land. And Accra is just you buy a box of even with the Accra, if you buy a box of nails from East Legon,
Mhm.
it's a different price
Oh yeah.
than you buy it from like 10 miles away. You buy it on Spintus. It's a whole
Oh,
different
yeah.
price. Same box. Right? And so people are beginning to make these decisions just solely and say, listen, I can't buy $100,000 a plot. It's not even 100 by 70. It's 80 by 60. Somewhere I just can't afford it. And so I think it's a really really a big factor. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, you guys made some valid points. You know, the cost of living, man. I think it was you that did a calculation, some kind of estimate that it will cost like 5,100 a month
Yeah, I gotta get
to
up
to
on that one.
make it, and that was based in Accra, right?
Accra, yes, I was using Accra.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I mean, if any of us don't have that kind of load, those that that amount, then we need to figure out different ways. That doesn't mean you'll not be able to live in Ghana. It just you need to change maybe your ways, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Good
Some
point.
sacrifices need to be made. If
Hmm.
most of that money need to go towards your kids' education and you being in somewhere that will not cost that much, then that's what you have to do,
Great
you know.
points.
But at the same time, like I said, if you're not in the lifestyle of
Hmm.
hustling and bustling and still trying to make, really deep into the business sector and whichever, I don't know, it could be anything, right?
Hmm.
If you're not really doing anything and you just want to take take things slow, you know, you're moving in your own pace, then you don't have to be in this environment, right?
Hmm.
Because you
Good
don't need
point.
that anymore. You've had that experience over here, abroad, and maybe growing up. So you probably don't need all that crazy stuff.
Hmm.
If it's gonna cost you arm and a leg to be in a place that you can probably do better somewhere else. So at the end of the day, yes, if I have to make that decision, if the cost
Hmm.
of living is way too much, even though I may have a house in Accra and this and that, I'll rent it out and I'll go somewhere where I'll have that peace of mind and just be collecting rent. You know, that's
Hmm.
also part of the business, but it's not the type of business that it's like hustling and bustling. You can just have those properties,
Great
Mhm.
points.
at our age now, you can build them and you check out. You just have to come in and collect, you know? But
Hmm.
if you just want to be in that environment because you just love that taste, that, everything about the city life, then hey, maybe you should just stay there. But for me, and maybe I can't speak for everyone, maybe some of us, it come a point where, you just got to leave certain things behind and just go somewhere where you have that peace of mind because we're getting older, man. And we don't, for me, man, I don't need a whole lot of stuff. So
Hmm.
that's where my mentality now. So yeah, the cost of living in places, according to the estimate that you gave, you know,
Hmm.
for me, I will check out on the city because of that amount.
Mhm.
Not saying
Hmm.
you could not make that amount. I'm just saying, you know,
Mhm.
I'll check out from the city and be somewhere else. Even if I'm making that amount, I'll be enjoying that money in other areas and still be check out of the city. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
You know, maybe
So in that,
traveling, going on vacations. You know, um, doing stuff for orphanage. I don't know. You know, helping people out.
Mhm.
You know, but for me to just sit there knowing that it's more than what I need, even though the estimate says this is what you need. You know, um,
Mhm.
I don't know. You know, that's just me personally.
so
We're all
so
different.
so
You
that
know.
estimates too, because maybe some people have not seen that video. So it's also factoring into um the you have two kids going to, as far as I know, the top schools for children are in Accra,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
As far as I know, right?
Um,
GIS and I mean,
well,
what
not
I mean, so I'm not talking about the
majority of them.
university level, majority of them, right?
Yeah.
So okay, they
Mm-hmm.
have more options in Accra.
Yes,
So I'll
yes.
put it
That's
that way.
that's a
Mm-hmm.
better way
They
to
have
put it.
more
Yep.
options. So I'm looking at that as education being central, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being central, because for me, education is non-negotiable. Being
Yeah.
central,
Yeah.
and so that is basically going to eat some of the budget. If you're looking at even the top, so let's say the top 5 schools in Accra, chances are too you may get a school that will work, but maybe you are quite a little bit far, so you might need a secondary vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you might get an Uber or a taxi to be taking the kids to school back and forth. That's money. You're
Yeah.
gonna be paying
No, no, no.
because
You're right, Tony. You are
yeah. So I
right.
was
What?
breaking it down. So it's not. So it's just those things. When you take those things out, now if you don't have kids, that's a lot. That's a lot of money, right?
No,
You
no,
don't.
no.
Yeah.
You have a point. What I'm saying is, you know, if the focus is the kids, right, and that one is not negotiable when it comes to education, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, I can be somewhere else
Correct.
and use a lot of that budget on my kids' education because that's not negotiable. You see what I'm saying? So
So let's say
if
if you are in, I don't want some tribes to beat me up. Let's say you are somewhere. Okay, let me pick where you say Western region. I'm from there, so don't try it. So let's say Western region, Wasak Ropon, in my village. What's up? Shout out to the people out there digging the gold. Bring some to your son. Let's say you done the
A prodigal son.
abandoned son. You leave me some 2 nuggets.
you see them in your dream tonight, you watch.
I'm staying up tonight. you know. So let's say if you're that part of the world, which is like it takes forever to get there, and and sometimes the trick is that you have a child who's like a superstar, whose brain, the IQ is very good,
Mhm.
right? Has
Mhm.
so much potential.
Mhm.
And let's say I don't know for a fact the top schools are not in Wasa Akropong. I mean,
Yes.
unless that changed last
The
week.
closest you come to Stack Ready.
Right? So it's not there.
Or maybe
And
Tapa
maybe
if
you
you're lucky.
find a handful of schools in Accra and you want to put them in. That is a challenge, right?
It is.
That
Mm-hmm.
is a challenge now. So that is going to affect the budget.
Mhm.
So for that reason, maybe you'll be forced to be close by,
Mhm.
right? Close by, not 4 hours away.
Mhm.
And so sometimes if you're individual,
Mhm.
man, you have a lot of leverage. You can do a lot of things.
No, you see,
But
but
if
Tony, if we still going with that was before Alex joined, right? The 300K US
correct.
dollars that you put down, right?
Yeah.
If that is your reality, you have 300,000, right?
Yeah.
You might, and then you have this, education situation. You might be
Yeah.
forced to live in Accra and cut down on maybe how lavish of a house you want to
Yeah.
build, right? Because you
But
you
Yeah.
what is
sacrifice
the
Yeah.
certain things.
300,000 for?
So
I
that'll
guess
be
I missed
that'll be
that.
for
Yeah, you
for
missed that
building, just
for
for
build
the
for
building
building.
only.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
so
okay.
let's Nanaya, if you can start this question, let's expand on it. I know we talk about some
Oh,
of the factors.
can you put what Queen's Homes put up? I think that thing has changed anyway. That saying is no longer that.
This one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't cut your coat according to your size anymore.
you cut your size according to your code.
No, you cut your coat according to your cloth.
Oh, all right.
If if you are big and and you have only half piece, good luck.
Yeah,
you
so I
you wear
know. So
a
Nanaya,
sleeveless coat.
Okay.
yes, Nanaya.
Uh,
So I know we talked about the
mhm.
other aspect of maybe the money aspect, but one thing also too, what will force one if you're in a rural area,
Mhm.
right? What are some of the things that may force you to say, listen, man, maybe I need to move closer to the city or come into the city? What are some of the things that may?
So we did some comparison here, and I think Alex talked about um, you know the ranch style living over here, the ranch, living in the ranch over here in the West. Um, now you can't copy and paste living on the ranch here or living rural here to living rural in Ghana. I mean, um,
Good point.
Yeah.
I drive 1 hour out of the city to go to work, and a little bit rural, but then you realize that they have all the amenities.
Mhm.
The banks
Yep.
are there, the
Mhm.
city, the amenities are there.
Great
Banks,
point.
supermarket, schools, hospitals. It's not like that where we come from. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like that way. You're not going to find, um, a rich kind of hospital in, let's say, Mankasim
Mhm.
or Agunanya Kro, well, which is not far from Accra.
Mhm.
You're not going to find it in Gomwa,
Mhm.
you know, and
Mhm.
so the proximity for good healthcare, you're not going to get it.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
you're talking about schools. Um,
Good
for
point.
as far as I'm concerned, I schooled outside Accra, so my school is a top school, but I don't know. Well, I can say other regions have good schools,
Mhm.
but they're very limited.
They're limited.
Yeah.
So when you talk rural, you're talking about a village.
Great point.
Um, you're not going to get the same kind of schools that you get in Accra,
Might not even have a school that has a roof, right? We've
right?
seen that in videos. So
And then the standard of living. If we say we talk about the quality of living,
Good point.
in terms of the air you breathe, pollution and stuff like that,
Mhm.
which is better in the village, but then that better with question marks because
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of water are you drinking?
Mhm.
You
Mm.
know,
Great
um,
points.
which people are you mingling with? Who are
Mhm.
these people? I
Mhm.
mean, is it a place where uh, you might not like the lifestyle?
Mhm.
It's just I
Mhm.
just don't want to be part of these people, and
Mhm.
and it's not discriminating or anything, but they might have a big mound of garbage where
Mhm.
that's where they throw their garbage. Do you
Mhm.
want to live in a place like that? Hell no.
Mhm. Or,
So
or 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 you could even be that
Good point.
brainy kid in Wasa Ekwapong
right,
who wants other people who can stimulate his mind. He can get
right,
in that
right.
environment.
You can
So
get in that
so
environment.
our definition of rural is that's the reason why Ghanaians move to the city.
Mhm.
We want the better life. You know, that's why we move to the city.
Good point.
So even in this with this topic, you got to be careful what kind of rural area you're going into.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mhm.
you might not,
Great points.
you might go live in a place, but you might it might be difficult for you to mix your lifestyle with the lifestyle of the village.
Yeah.
Where at 6 o'clock it's all about drinking akpatashi. You know,
Hey,
in drinking
what
akpatashi.
is in the village?
You
Inspiring shots, oh.
Good point.
Those men inspiring shots.
you know, or maybe you like this village. You like this village during the day, but nighttime you want to get out because it's just too dark. There are no street lights.
Mm.
But
Mm.
then the indigenous people, they are used to it. You are not used to it. you know
Mm.
so um so then you got to be careful when you talk about rural living, because I know people. I had I listened to these people that were so crazy about Cape Coast when they were here, because Cape Coast has all that history about African Americans and slave trade. They wanted to move to Cape Coast, and then they got to get to Ghana. It's like, oh no, hell no, we don't want to be here, you know.
Mhm.
And they rather live in Accra. So you got to be careful. It's not the same.
Great
It's not
points.
like you live in a ranch here in Texas, so you can go live in a ranch, somewhere in the boondocks in Ghana, where it's like, man, it's dark, man. It's the nighttime is really dark. There's nobody close, and if there's an emergency, what do you do? You know,
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
question.
Good point.
So
Yeah.
So we're saying one of the factors that may force people to
it's
move
just the
back to the
access
city
to
would be,
access
yeah.
to social amenities,
hmm
as simple as a good hospital where you can have a steroid technique if your child has a cut on the leg. They might not have it. The nurses over no the nurses would not like to come there because it's just too rural and
hmm
remote.
hmm
You know,
Yeah.
Food. I intentionally took my national service to the north. I just wanted to experience the northern region. I was in a place called Wulugu. Wulugu is between Wale Wale and Bolagatanga. You know,
Mhm.
the day I got there, I wanted meat for my food. I didn't get meat.
Mhm.
There was no meat. The only cold store in the place was closed. That was my
You
experience.
you were in the north and all that livestock and you didn't have meat.
They don't have it. Who told they have the livestock? But man, it's it's not
Oh,
for eating. They
okay.
don't eat it. It's for it's for it's for selling. They kill it and sell it, or they use for marriage. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
it's
Gary.
very common where they eat without meat. You
Wow.
know, because they don't have fish, but so meat is their main staple. But then when you go to Tamale, yeah, so I spent 2 nights in Tamale with a family, and there was a lot of meat.
Mm.
But when I moved from Tamale to Wulugu, Wulugu is very remote.
Oh, okay.
And man, that was what I chose. I was happy. I mean, the people are very nice.
Mhm.
Okay, um, but it's very
Yeah,
remote,
sure.
and
Bibin Tiana go.
it's
Hmm.
just I just wanted
Rakia,
to.
Rakia.
No, I just want no. I just wanted that different. I just wanted to experience the Northern
That's
experience. So
that's to go
so
see go find Rakia on her own turf. Wulugu.
right. So
Yeah.
so so in
Sorry.
using Wulugu as an example, would I like to? No, land is very cheap. You
Mm,
know, access to water. You can dig a borehole.
mhm,
But would I like to? Would I want to go live in Wulugu? Let's say if I'm from there.
mhm,
No, I will probably like to want to live in either Bolga or Tamale if I'm a northerner, you know, because of the proximity to healthcare, good schools and stuff. So you got to be
Of
careful.
course, Santi Achima go. We all moving there.
Yeah, Nanaya is going
The
to move there
street light.
first. The street light, Nanaya will move there first.
You know, I mean, living in a place where no paved roads. I mean, would you want to be there? I don't think.
No, Nanaya. You see, I think and we keep hitting it, right? It depends on where in life you are, right? Because if you can afford a really good car, right? Imagine you can easily afford to buy the newest
Mm,
Land Rover Defender,
mm,
right?
mm,
Meant for roads like that.
mm,
You have money to put in gas, you can do AC,
mm, mm.
right? The
Right,
roads don't matter to you,
right,
right? To you, it's an adventure, like you're
right,
driving in a safari,
right.
right? So if you are at that point in life and
Mhm.
what matters to you is once I get in between my walls, I have my peace of mind. Maybe
Mhm.
rural is what it is for you,
It is
right?
true. It is
You
true.
know, but
It is
but
true.
you see the bigger problem, right? The bigger problem is how often you can get to things that you would
That is
basically
key.
what you
Emergency.
That
use.
The
is
issue becomes the emergencies.
that is
Yeah,
a problem.
When you
That
have
is a problem.
yeah.
emergency,
See,
what?
what makes rural living here very very attractive, because as soon as you get on the highway, boom, you're gone.
hmm
You know, you can drive to let's say
The next major city in like an
you
hour.
major city and come back.
Mhm.
But I mean, am I going to deal with some kind of road that is not done? I might have a Land Rover, my man. When you drive these cars
The
on
rain
this
can
road,
wash the whole road away.
right? So it's just that is
You need
that
a
is
tractor.
You know.
I think also too one of the things maybe for me also is like the thing that will make sometimes is the mindset of basically having people that you can relate to, right? And it like for example, when you meet somebody who's lived in the West for a long time and you start talking about anything, most of the time there's a similar train of thought about things. There's the learning curve is not that huge,
Mm.
right? Now, if you extract yourself and put in this, I mean, I'm talking about super rural. I think it will be very difficult if you want to implement something for them to see the urgency and sometimes to even think like if it's necessary, right? There is this thing, and the question is, can you really live in that environment? And every time you have to tell them like, hey, you shouldn't do XYZ because it is wrong. If there's a constant, right? There's a constant reminder. Than to live in an environment sometimes you like people, that communication, that discussion is much more easier because there's a level of understanding, say, okay, this is the way it should be.
Mm.
And so you can isolate yourself,
Mhm.
but I think you can have everything in terms of your home, you can have everything that you desire to live
Mhm.
comfortably,
Mhm.
but your happiness also is going to be related to the community, right? Because unless you're like a loner, right? But but then when you get out of your community, you're part of this community, and the community's problem is your problem somehow,
Yes, that's
right?
true.
And so you take on all this, and I think there's more responsibilities
When you live in a
if
rural
you
area.
are the most successful person in the rural area, right? There's a lot that you are going to carry on your shoulders. So you went there to relax.
Mhm.
Now, right? They are pushing all kinds of stuff on responsibilities. And so in a city, I feel like you can just do your thing, don't even care about, whatever.
You see, but
But in the
Tony, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to hit the point around what you just said, right? Sometimes there's more fulfillment, right, in being them Koswahini than being, you know,
sometimes, yep.
being the individual in Accra that that one of the other guys, right? Because like imagine, right? They're about to play. Black Stars are about to play, right?
Hmm.
You have solar. You put a projector screen. Your entire rural community come watch with you.
Hmm.
Isn't that like doesn't that feel better than having to sit in your living room by yourself and watch it? Right. So there's
Hmm.
and you see, like when we say peace of mind, it's not always having to do, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's what people give you, right? That
Hmm.
respect that you get because they know that you are the one who's paving the road. They see you, they give you that, oh, hey, that greeting. Like there's this sense of belonging, that you feel you're valued where you are. I think that's part of it. In
Yes,
Accra,
but you know what is going to happen also is that
Good point.
we have the savior complex, right? The
yeah, but
savior complex.
not everybody has that though.
No, no, in Ghana, like if you are the one that made it, you see it even in your family. If you made it, you're supposed to be responsible for everybody and stuff. So my thing is that, and this is a thing that sometimes I always tell people: when you do good, some good becomes a problem for you
No good deed
because
goes unpunished, they
now,
say.
no, no, so now you are about to take a whole lot of responsibilities that maybe you didn't co-sign. And when you tell people like maybe I can't do this thing, they don't even believe you.
Mm.
Because you go there, you probably have the nicest home with all solar. You probably gonna be the only person with solar. They think you made it, and guarantee every problem in the community is coming to you. And so sometimes the thing that you are running to go get, it becomes a hindrance because now everybody looking at you like, oh, he has everything, and so maybe he can solve my problems. And so it is a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky. This questions.
Well,
Let's ask these
well,
questions if we can.
can I
What do you
can
guys
I
think about this?
can I piggyback on what you were just saying? Yeah, I mean, this relates to what I'm about to say. So I showed you guys about this, big land in central region where, and it's actually a rural community. Um, and there's a lot of greenery. People are buying land and building, and it's people from here, who are like-minded, who we are trying to build a community together. We have a platform that we talk to each other about. Um, now, now, as I said, we're planning to build our houses, okay, and also help the community in terms of maybe a football field, and then help the school. We're trying to build a toilet for the school, a toilet facility for the school.
Mm.
Um, right now. And I was when they told me the school, the village school doesn't have toilet facility, and then it's a government school. I'm like, why? Why did the government build a school, and did not build a toilet for the kids? You know. So now
Do they have a chief? Did they have a chief in the village?
there's a chief, but then so I
So
asked
he want the
where.
government to come build a toilet for him.
So I'm like, where did the kids go to toilets? And they said, oh, when they want to go to toilet, they go home. you know, you
They
know,
go,
that's,
they go,
that
they
is,
go, they go home. They
they
go
go
home
home,
to get the newspaper so that they can
right?
go to the bush.
They
You
go
know,
home
and,
or they go to the bushes.
They go home for the
I mean,
newspaper.
that's what they
Either way,
told
is
me.
home.
You know, so
They go home for the
so
newspaper so they can go to the bush. It's a pit
so
stop.
but our neighborhood, the neighborhood we're trying to build, is a little bit away from the village, but it's a walking distance.
Good point.
Where they can, and we're not going to separate ourselves from the village. They're going to be part of the community, but then it's a community where it's being built. Is a new area. So what am I saying? Um, what I'm saying is there is nothing wrong with groups like this. There's nothing wrong with it. I totally and will encourage groups like this because we have a lot of positives that we can bring into the rural areas in terms of education. Because if we are living there, then we want good healthcare and building a small clinic.
Mhm,
A bunch of us are
mhm,
healthcare nurses. We have some pharmacists in there. Um, you know, then we're gonna build a clinic where we can give some services over there. Farming. You're thinking about farming. So these kind of communities, to me, it's yeah, good. I mean, just going in there, building big houses with big walls, and isolating yourself in the communities, it's not the way to go. With the little monies that we have, I think there's a lot that we can bring to the table. So there's
I'll
nothing wrong
take
with
a
it.
crack at it. I'll take
There's
a
nothing wrong.
crack at Ghana Love Bug,
Yeah.
and then I want because I have some insight about this question. So in theory, there's nothing wrong with that. Here's a practicality though, because I've seen about at least 5 groups that have come across, and I keep answering the same question. I send people back, and I say, go back to your leader and ask them how much is going to cost for this building communities. None of them have been able to execute it because this is the problem. This is what keep coming up is in the idea. So the dream is wonderful, but once people find out, and they're not giving the cost anyway, they're not giving the cost because it takes millions of dollars to create a functioning community. Thinking about it, you don't have anything. You're gonna bring road, you're gonna bring infrastructure, you're gonna bring solar, you're gonna keep water, you're gonna build, you're gonna have all these hospitals, you're gonna have community centers, you're gonna have a school. It's not cheap. And if they come out with a budget, people are not gonna get it because some of these people are on fixed income. They just want to go build their 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom this thing bungalow and rely on their social security or pension. They can't cough this money. So and not I've looked Eastern region, I've looked Central region. I've never seen anybody doing it yet. And if there's any group that is doing it, I mean, you see the infrastructure going in. And I've been invited to be some partnership on some of these programs, and it costs a lot of money to do it. And the people that are involved don't have that kind of resources, these expendable resources, because one even created a fight because people are like, we don't want to do the borehole because it's like 1,500, what is it, 12,000 cities now to do a borehole. So individual borehole, and people are like, they don't want to pay, right? Because it keep adding up. So in theory, it's good, but the best thing and the transparent thing to do for everybody that's involved is say, listen, this how much is going to cost for road, this how much is going to cost for bringing water, this how much for per unit, this is how much it's going to cost out. They're not going to give you that because you're going to be like, man, this is probably like 30% of my house budget. So there's nothing wrong with that. If they can execute it, it will be wonderful. But I think it's going to take a lot of money to do that. And when you have people who wants to go to Africa and build their house and enjoy their life and connect, telling them to bring all this money is not really realistic. So that is what I have seen, about that.
Well,
So
what I'm talking about
but
is totally different from what you're saying. I know there are groups where they've tried certain things and it did not work. Okay, now I don't, and there's too much of that stuff that we gotta be careful about. Whoever posed the question, I'm not into going to give your money to anybody. Now, when you move into an area where people have bought land and there is land available for you to buy, that is what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
You buy your own land. If you want to join hands with maybe one other person to develop the land to build your own house, and then build your own driveway. Okay. But then you're still part of the larger community.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, you know, your money is your money and you use your money for your project. Okay. If there is road construction, which it's not going to be a paved road. Okay. But then if you can grade the road, okay, we research into building small, simple, grade the road, get a roller to press it down, pour gravel on it, press it again, pour another gravel, press it again. It's expensive. Nobody's saying these things are cheap. If you really go with a good road, which is not paved, and you can use just gravel, I'm saying that just use gravel, press it down. I mean, in our area, we have the women who come in, and then collect these collect the
it is.
stones. You know, um, you can have your own roads like that. So you're not building a whole asphalt. Nobody's saying go build asphalt when you don't have the money. But a simple rough
But
road,
if they don't do that though, if they don't do that, because you have to look at, I used to have the data about the most rain in Ghana, right?
mhm,
Mhm.
And some of these places some people are going, it rains heavily. It's gonna wash out that road,
right,
right?
right.
And the thing is this, the thing that I always say is these things to
Well,
build
well, you,
communities.
you say it's gonna wash the road, and if you do it well, it's not gonna wash the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
If
saying
you have if you
maintenance.
have if you
No,
have
I'm saying
if you have
then you're
good
gonna put asphalt.
drainage,
Yeah,
no, you
Oh
don't
no,
really
I
even
mean,
need that.
there's no drainage. There's
No,
no
no. What I'm
drainage. No,
saying
you
is,
guys
if
know
you
that.
look, no, I'm not saying there is, but what I'm saying is, if you want to do a road system, even if you're not going to asphalt it, give the water some place to go.
right, right.
Right? If
It
you give
doesn't
the
Yeah,
have
water
to
some
but
be
place to go, then it doesn't sit on the road.
so in theory, we know what should be done. It's all wonderful. In theory, it's all good. I'm saying to build communities, right? I say the idea is good. The execution is going to take expertise and money.
listen. Nobody's denying that, but I'm
So
saying that
so that
I'm
is
saying
what
that.
is being lacking.
Listen,
That is why. Do you know how
right,
many
right,
groups have gone to build
right,
communities, and there's
right.
not one yet
Well,
functioning?
listen. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. Look, people go
Oh,
in with all kinds
a
of
lot of things
ideas.
possible.
Wait, people go in with all kinds of ideas. That's the reason why all kinds of other ideas. That is why it is not working. Okay, they want to fill their pockets with other people's money, and that is not what. That's what I'm saying. Guard yourself against that. Don't go in thinking that because nobody's going to build it, so you have to build it yourself. Okay, so right from the start, don't start giving your money. Build your house. If it's a land that you've bought, build your own house. And I'm saying that to build your own driveway, you can do it.
Well, the member of parliament for the Medina constituency said that road building is not his. He didn't promise anyone roads.
That's right. And so for me, this is my free advice to the watch. Listen, trust me, building a house alone in Ghana is a lot of money. Building a community is even more money. And there'll be some people.
Though? What is a community though?
With infrastructure. So you build an infrastructure. You have infrastructure.
5 families, 5 people can say we will build a community. The 4 of us here can decide to build a community.
No, but you have infrastructure.
It's a small place. What is infrastructure? Infrastructure is roads, and I'm saying it doesn't have to be a paved road. I mean, it's just a simple.
But I'm not going to. But I'm not going to join a community. You can tell me if we're gonna do a road, I'd rather build a road that is sustainable, not something that we have to.
Tony,
every rainy
it has to
season.
be accessible. It has to be accessible. Once it's accessible, we're good.
Find your land, build your house. Tony, it's much more.
Tony,
that's a better thing.
No, but no one is saying it's not better, right? No one is saying
why are you so much against?
It's not possible.
No, why are you so much against?
Why do you keep saying that though?
No, listen. The proof is in the pudding. I've seen the document. I've seen the land deals. I've seen the proposed plans. I'm not speaking out of some places that doesn't shine.
But I'm saying
these things have come to me.
I'm saying
I've seen even the land that they get, the bad deals, the way it's written. Open.
Oh my God! So because there's some past experiences that we didn't go well, then it's not possible. I mean,
it's not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it has not been done yet. And the funder. And this is what I keep telling people: go back to your leaders, tell them with all these things that we are promising, we are able to execute. How much is it going to cost individual household? And they're not coming up with a budget because if they come with a budget, people are going to be like, hell no, I'm not trying to. I don't even have the money to do it.
I'm saying, I'm giving you an example where people have moved into a green area, and everybody is building. Okay. I'm saying everybody is building, and I don't have to give you names, but I'm saying that
I don't see one yet. Two houses.
It is possible.
Alex, take it.
It is possible.
It's possible. No, I don't. It's not about.
It is possible.
It's possible, but has not been executed because it's the same fundamental flaw. Is that you're going to bring people who have no expertise in how to develop infrastructure and community. So you're going to take money, lots of money, and lots of money.
When it comes to expertise, none of us here is a builder. Who is a builder here?
Let me take it because I got to go to the field.
Oh, yeah, handle your business.
I'll join you guys a little later. But if you want me to answer something, I can before I go. And I'll join you.
You take it where you want to take it.
Take this one.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, relocating, whether it's to the rural, to the city, it involves a lot of factors. Some of it may be, you're just tired of city life and you want to be in the rural areas. If you're in the rural areas, you're tired of the village life and you want to be in the city. Now, when we're talking about the rural areas here in the States, it is different because the amenities that we have is way different from what we're talking about where we are, because where we are is really
way different from our city.
Huh? Yeah, even the rural area is better than some of the city, our city, right? So it comes with a lot of stuff. Now, you as a city guy, you as a man who came from the Western nation, you have to bring your standard a little lower to even go into those areas, because what you're used to, they have no clue about. And you don't have the same mindset. Okay? They want to go drink in the morning. You probably don't want to do that. You want to drink tea. They want alcohol. You want tea.
Great
you know, they want certain kind of stuff in the morning. You don't want that. So it's all about you bringing your ways a little. Huh?
I
know, right?
It's not possible.
What's on your rubbing? Huh? On your nanka.
Uh,
So, you know, now there I made a valid point when you was talking earlier. Here in the rural area, you hit the highway. 1 hour can go from like Kumasi to Accra. Just an example, right? If that was here, it will be maybe hour and a half, 2 hour trip. You feel me? you know, but but you get stuck on the road, and you got to stop to pee, and you got to do this. It's a lot of stuff.
You see what Steven said? You can do
Huh?
it in that crowd right by the bar.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I'll join you guys in the
All right,
few.
thank you.
All right,
All
Alex.
right,
All right, all right.
let's throw this
Yeah,
third
yeah.
one in there.
Tony, what is this? It's not possible thing.
And
No,
that's
no,
a
no.
topic for another day.
Listen,
Come on. That's a
listen.
topic for
I'm
another
not saying. Listen, everything is possible. So you can walk on
Okay,
Saturday.
okay.
Everything is
No,
possible.
I'm done. I'm done. It's good. Okay, you're done.
Okay. All right.
Case
Everything
closed.
is possible.
No need to
But
explain further.
yeah, I'm a reality guy. You got to prove it.
No.
Okay, this
Stop.
one.
Stop it. You said everything is possible. Just land.
Everything is possible.
It's done.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah,
Full stop. Done.
everything is all possible. Yeah, take your
Impossible.
money. Don't come crying to me.
I did not say impossible is nothing.
That's right. Yeah, you're gonna buy a lot of Adidas. They'll take your money.
So Tony,
So
if let's say that 6 of us say we're gonna go get a place and build our own rural community, you said it's not possible.
this is what I'm saying. If listen, whenever you're gonna go do something, you know what I go look at? I'm gonna go get a cost.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look at the numbers.
Mhm.
If you bring money on the table, you can bring expertise to execute, because the goal is that when you build something, you have to maintain.
Mm.
So it's better do it right
Mm.
the first time. One of the reasons I rose the conditions there is that they don't do it right the first time.
Mm.
So now you're going back to and they don't maintain them. So you have all this infrastructure. You're going to take money to maintain that. And so my thing is that the ideas and people are saying is all cute. But when it comes to, okay, how do we move from A to B? How much we going to need? People are fighting about how much to pay for excavators to dig this place. Listen, man, I hear all this stuff that comes in. People don't want to pay for some of these things
Well,
I,
the
I,
truth
I,
is,
in
I
this
I think the
community.
I think the problem is this, right? The problem is this: if you're not being upfront with the people, then you're gonna have these issues,
They're
right?
not being upfront.
That's
That's the
the
thing I'm
problem,
telling them.
right?
And that's why I
That's the
tell them, I say,
problem.
listen, let them know how much it's going to cost for every house. If it's HO fees,
Mhm.
bring the budget. Say, okay, we need integration system. It's going to cost 10,000, right? Every family, $500.
Mhm.
Bring this thing.
Mhm.
There's nobody has done it yet. Listen, these
the-
groups, they contact me.
is it not a case where the expertise is not there? I mean, the leader himself has no expertise.
It's possible.
The people themselves don't even
They're
know
not
how
builders.
these things are called.
That's what I'm saying. It makes it difficult to execute it when there's no expertise and there was no like transparency and there's no direction. So I tell people, why would you want to co-sign something when, because what I don't want is this, because some of the people that reach out to me on fixed income, and they are fixed income. They don't want to, they just want to go buy, build a place, have a peace of mind.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, they have to pay. So, and they didn't even know this cost is coming, maybe $1,000 a month. They have no idea this thing's like, so let them know how much it's going to cost.
Mhm.
And no group, all of them, no group that I have found that has provided an estimate of all these hospitals, all this road, all this borehole, all this stuff we're going to do.
But Tony,
No one has come up with that.
But Tony, what I also find interesting is we tend to blame the leaders of these groups. These leaders are trying to build something. I'm not holding brief for them, okay? But we have lazy followers who always think somebody's going to offer something free for them.
That's also
You know?
true.
Yes, I mean it's like you're going to Africa, you're going to
Good point.
this bush to go and build a community, and you're not thinking about borehole, you're not thinking about electricity, you're not thinking about good roads.
Mhm.
I mean, and most of them don't even have the money.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most people don't even have the money.
When I was in Ghana recently, and I'm meeting with these real estate people, and they've built these communities. The money they're pumping in.
Right, right.
Listen, is the thing is no joke.
Yeah.
This thing is no joke, and I think people must know upfront.
No, people going to Africa think it's Africa, so everything should be cheap.
Ah,
Yeah,
You
you see,
know,
that's the
you
problem.
know.
When you go with the vacation mentality,
Yeah,
right? That, oh, I went with $1,000, right? And because you went during Christmas time, where people are splurging, and some of the spoils are coming your way, you think that's how it is in Ghana every day? Good
no,
luck to you.
no.
It's not.
But what
yeah.
is
So,
if we're going to talk about good paved road? Are you able? Is every family or every buyer or every community member willing to bring up, cough up $20,000 for
they
building
not they no
infrastructure?
they don't they
They
don't
don't have
that's
that
not in the
kind of money.
budget.
They
No,
don't have
No,
that.
because
you
the
see,
borehole, they were
no,
fighting on the borehole.
you see, the reason,
Borehole they were fighting.
the reason is that reality is different for them, right? Here, before you move into an area, if
It's
it's a
already
new
developed.
build,
Yeah,
infrastructure is already there. The
yeah.
roads are already paved,
Hmm.
everything. Your
Hmm.
land, your lot
Hmm.
is there. You go and you
Hmm.
build on it,
Hmm.
right? That's what they used to.
Hmm.
This is new to them.
Hmm.
Oh, you want me to provide water for myself,
Hmm.
right? Oh, I
Hmm.
can just put a tap on an already laid pipe. It's like all of
They're
these things are new. So,
right.
so if we're having this communication, sorry, if we're having this conversation, right, with people who've never been, right,
Hmm.
who are foreign,
Hmm.
who Ghana is foreign to,
Right.
you're gonna have issues like this if you're not
Oh yeah.
upfront,
Oh
right?
yeah. Because
But amongst the three of us sitting here,
mhm,
you know, my
we
my my
understand.
my, my house is not even walled yet, and there's already a borehole on it,
Right. We
right?
understand.
Because
We
I
do
know
understand.
I know the
Yeah.
reality on the ground,
Right. Right.
right?
You
So
know.
so so
And that is why it is our job. And so for me, when they come to me, I say, listen, this thing you're about engaging is all wonderful and cute. It's cute, but it's going to cost you.
It's going to cost
You,
money.
oh yeah,
It's
it's
yeah,
going
going
to
to
cost
cost
money.
you a lot
yeah.
of money that I don't think you are ready to pay for. So I said, go back to your leaders,
Mhm.
tell them to give you the cost of all these projects, break it down by a number of people that are going to live in the community.
Hmm.
And the reason why none of them have done it, if they're watching this thing, they can put it up. The reason none of them have done it, because when they provide the cost, they're not going to co-sign this stuff.
It'll scare people away.
They're
That's the
not going to
reality.
co-sign it. So what it's going to do, they're going to build, and then these things going to come out. You're going to see on TV, we got scammed. This thing happened to us. And going to be a whole lot of drama. And I'm telling people, I said, listen, I can probably cough up some money for these things. I'm not even getting involved
Well,
because there's some people that are fighting on the borehole that they don't want to have
that,
individual balls.
that is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. That most of the case, I don't blame the leaders because these leaders have the vision, but the followers, one, they don't have the money,
I know the
and
leaders are trying to hustle them. That's what it is.
well,
It's a
No,
it's
no,
not
hustle.
always.
Tony,
It's not always
I
true.
don't think it's
It's not like it
100%
always.
Almost
accurate.
see that.
No,
Only him
Tony,
say,
Tony,
only him
Tony.
someone will lead you, no one see dying.
I don't think
Let me
it's
say, no, let me tell you
yes,
this. Let me
yes.
tell you this.
They're building a
All the
community,
people
right?
that supposedly that are building these communities don't be have a house for themselves yet.
No, but they're
Okay,
building a community.
they're building a community.
It's
How
a
many?
hustle.
No,
A hustle.
how many houses are on that community we're talking about? Zero, right?
No, what? Listen, a hustle. I know
Okay,
some stuff that I'm saying it's a hustle.
okay.
It's a hustle.
I don't I
All
don't
right.
think I don't think everyone has bad
We,
intentions
no,
though.
we'll
Let's
talk.
share
We'll talk about
let's
it
share
after
about
the show. It's a hustle.
let's share about whole thing. Okay, so maybe they're thinking
Let's
about
go.
building
Go
one
ahead.
borehole and then having a big
A big tank,
like
a
we have here
reservoir.
in we have in our cities.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
cities have big reservoirs, right?
big reservoirs. That's what they're thinking. Which is not a
Yes.
bad idea in
It's not a
itself.
bad idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
idea and idea, wonderful. Let's tackle this. So everything is possible, guys. Everything is possible. So losing all your money in Africa, that's all possible. So you want to live in a rural area, but your spouse say, "Hell no, I like the city. I like to enjoy the city life and have these amenities." So then how are you gonna handle these things, right?
Mhm.
She agreed to in the rural area. She lived there for a few weeks. Said, "Man, I can't do it, man.
Okay.
I just can't do it." And so then they say, "You know what? So what do you do? Do you
That's why I
compromise?"
say. That's why I say, build in the city and build in the rural. You know, uh,
But
because
that's not a question. That's not a question. That's Not the question. The question is, you only have one in a rural area. You don't have
No,
anything in
no,
the city.
no. But no,
he-
Tony, you said like she went and tried it for a week or two and didn't like it. Why did you just pluck her from wherever and plunk her into the rural area? Did she see
No,
the bill
because
coming up?
not because sometimes things change all the time. It is strong desires.
Mhm.
You can desire a particular job,
Yeah,
right? You get in there,
yeah.
and it's not exactly what you hope
No,
it was.
but if you put, let's say you put, right, rough estimate, you put 4 years in a build in this rural
Yeah.
area. You've been going back and forth, right? I hope that you're not nobody wins spirit. Right? I hope that you guys have been having conversation, right? It's not like, oh, you're not it's not like you're gonna flip a switch and say
No,
Steven is on fire. Steven is on
talking about,
fire. No, but
but
you see the point I was trying to make is this. I hope that communication is good enough, right? That
Yeah.
what you guys want to do is to be a team, right? Like Steven said, it's true, right? Once you are in a union, there's no I win, you win. There
So
has
then,
to be
what are you
some
gonna do?
there
You
has to
gonna
be some
stay or you?
compromise. There has to be some
Okay,
compromise.
her
Look,
compromise is she wants to be in the city.
okay, you got to be in the city. Where are you going to stay in the city?
Oh, you're gonna sell the rural house and
Okay,
pay on in the city.
who's going to buy it?
Who's gonna buy it?
It's not like here. Oh. You can't
No,
just
you're gonna
flip
make it.
houses.
You're gonna get a small. She said she rather live in a single bedroom in a city than five
Okay,
bedroom in a
okay.
rural.
Then we have a conversation. If that is what you want, and we're going to be happy living in a single bedroom,
No, you. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna be happy?
that's what I'm
She.
saying. Like, look,
Mhm.
if if the thing is we have a conversation and we both come to a place where we understand for our shared happiness, right?
Yeah,
That is
but
what
you
we need
don't
to.
want to live in a city. You like rural, and she in the city, man. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It's always says settle for the suburb.
Yep.
Who's the head?
Yep. The thing is this. I feel like there's communication that has to be had, right? Because like it's like this. We throw these questions out there, right? And they are so hypothetical in nature that like there's no reality to it. The reason why I'm
Okay,
saying,
so no,
hold
no.
hold on,
So
Tony. Let,
you
let me
can
let me
have all
let
the
me give my point.
conversation, but that's
Hold
the
on.
conclusion.
Hold on. Let me say what the reason why I'm saying this, right? We throw the question. It's simple to put a question together and throw it on the screen. It's easy, right? But like I said, I hope that you didn't just pluck her out of here and said, "Oh, I built a house in Ghana," and then you
Yeah,
go
but
and pluck
maybe
her in
she
the.
was on it. She wanted to be in a rural, and then she got over there and said, "Hell no." So I'm going to the city. So you've had all these discussions, and the
Mhm,
bottom line is this: you
mhm,
want to live in a rural.
mhm.
She wants to live in a city. There's no, that is where the conclusion is. You can't
Well,
convince her. She can
well,
convince
I,
you.
I
I mean,
I I don't know. I don't know if I'm. I don't know. I'll figure it out when it gets there. How about that?
no, you got to pick one.
Nope, not picking anything.
Oh, yeah. Now, yeah, what are you gonna do?
well, I mean, what
Nana
is the
dreams. You can only have one.
what
That's
is
the
the
Yeah,
what is
that's
the
the
incentive?
stipulation.
What is the incentive of living in a rural anyway? I mean,
no, so you want to live there, and she wants to live in the city, though. Maybe you love the rural.
look, in listening as men, I think sometimes the judgment of the woman has to be listened to too. I mean, um, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe
Good point.
kids' school, kids' healthcare,
Mm.
and so if these are some of the reasons, then we'll have to go to the city.
Not true. Not true, Stephen. Not true.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh boy.
No, continue though. So
Yeah,
the discussion,
listen,
right?
if a good enough reason, because this woman you're talking about is not used to the rural area, you know, um, she simply doesn't like it. So
So what are you gonna do? You gonna pack
yeah,
up and go?
we'll move back to the city, you know,
We move back to the rural area.
the city.
Oh, move to the city. Move to the city. All right. I don't have to answer this question. This is wonderful
Oh,
because
answer
I
it.
put the question at it.
Answer it. Answer it.
So okay. All right. So let's say I want rural city.
Tony,
So this is a
Tony,
criteria.
you don't want rural.
No, but this
You
time I
don't.
want rural.
No, you
I
don't.
want rural
No, you don't want rural. They
because
don't.
I can have my organic plantain.
They don't have bloom bar in the rural area. You won't go.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
guys,
Oh no.
but guys, can you picture yourself thriving in the rural, in the
Oh, let me
village?
answer my question. Let me answer my question. There's stuff like that.
Nana,
So,
Nana is
so for
asking an
me,
offshoot.
for me, there is there is two there's two criterias that gets me to change my mind. There's two criterias. One is the reasoning must be sound, not just based on emotion. It must be sound. If you want me to negate, to give away certain pleasures and happiness, the reason making it must be sound and justified. And two, the value of that person to me. So if the value is less, I'm living in a rural area. If the reason is just emotional, I'm living in a rural area. So, but if the reason is sound, then I guess I'm back in the city. Other than that, so that's my two criteria. If it's just because I don't want the rural area, it's not gonna cut it. I'm living in a rural area. If it's just like okay, proximity to maybe there's a medical condition, proximity to specialized care, maybe school, that kind of stuff. I'm like, damn it, and stuff like that. But if it's purely emotional, then I'm back in the rural with Rakia.
Well, you
Um,
see, that's what I'm saying, right? These are hypotheticals. Like it needs to happen, right? The conversation, like there should be things that led to that conversation, right?
correct.
And if that the things led to that conversation, like you said, right, are valid reasons, then the decision making process becomes easy.
No, but
r-
sometimes too, like people, some people are like,
Like they choose it and then they stay there. They
they
can
stay
move.
there,
Why you
like
married?
they stay there, and sometimes ego and stuff like that. But for me, like I said, if I'm going to give away something, then the evidence might be so profound that I'll be stupid to
Mhm,
defend my position.
mhm,
You see what I'm saying? So if that's that, I'm gonna override
mhm,
whatever happiness I'm
mhm.
getting in a rural area because.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they're not valid, no, it's not. You're not gonna get me to move on
Yeah,
that.
that's why I'm saying like
Yeah.
these questions like there are a lot of variables that come with it. Like what even
Yes.
brought, the
Well,
question.
So
the thing is that as a leader in your house, you have to be able to market your ideas and your convictions to your spouse.
Great
So
points.
what is the that's what I'm saying. What is the incentive in living in the village? Um, I mean, what is incentive? If the incentive is this is great, then you need to be sell it to him because okay, so then we live the village is by the ocean. Look, it's a therapy for me when I hear the sound of the ocean, and and the waves.
that you love.
It makes me relaxed. Okay, um, so the city is too dusty. It's too noisy. It's a lot of pollution. I don't want to be there.
Aboboya.
Abobo, yeah, I don't want to be there. The food is cleaner, it's cheaper in a rural
Mhm.
area. I don't get sick. Me buy kind. I'm Sasa Braba. You know,
Hey,
you know. So so
maybe I better
we
embra right now
we
when you're
we
for.
let,
growing up,
let,
growing
let
up,
me let me let
growing
me
up,
go let
growing
me
up.
go.
Growing up, we had a colleague whose mother couldn't live. So Akuse and Akosumbo. That's
Mhm,
where I lived. Couldn't and it's two towns, and so the VRA workers will either work in one or the other,
mhm,
and sometimes they work in both. So they work maybe Monday through Wednesday, and then that colleague of mine, the mom couldn't live in Akuse for some reason. She had this condition, which was menopausal, that she couldn't live there. Okay, so this question it might sound silly, um, but when she goes to a Kosovo, she was fine. You know,
Hmm, hmm,
um,
hmm.
you know, we don't know, we didn't know what it was.
mhm.
She all of a sudden
Before,
scream and had this mental, breakdown and stuff. It wasn't, it was a serious
before no
condition.
other side.
So yeah, it might be necessary for the person to live in the city because now the doctors who help with her condition. So You have to be able to sell your convictions to your wife, and you just don't ignore her because, man, if you're talking about going to live in Ghana, you have to be in the same boat together.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
this question actually, it sounds like hypothetical, but I think basically is this like develop your argument
Mhm.
and be a great effective communicator, right? And so and because sometimes you may have that conviction, but if somebody can articulate the reasons for maybe moving otherwise, then it's like there might be some validity over there. Guys, thank you
Yeah,
very
no,
much. We
I
appreciate.
said,
Oh,
oh,
okay, go
oh,
ahead. Let's
no,
wrap
I
it
said
up.
hypothetical because like I looked at this question because we've tackled this question before, right? Similar
Mhm.
in a different, but I look at it in the stream of questions that we've had tonight, where oh you can live in one or the other, right? So
yeah,
if you can live in one or the other, that means the decision has already been made,
right.
right?
Mhm.
And that is why I
Yeah,
said it
people
sounded
change.
hypothetical.
Yeah, but people change. You know how it is. They co-sign in and they were like, "What? I co-signed this. I didn't. I was not
Yeah,
thinking right." So, oh, we had a pack house. Thank you,
yeah, that was nice,
everyone.
man.
Let's give a shout out to a bunch of people here. Steven, thanks you for your great comment. It was awesome. Sarisa, thank you. Nana Dreams, Leslie, thanks again for always tuning. Where's Sly? We miss Sly.
Yeah,
Sly's
Sly
back.
wasn't here tonight.
Chris Holmes, we
Double
appreciate
Sly.
you joining us today.
Yeah,
So it was great, and we like the feedback. We like your
yeah,
questions and your
yeah.
comments. We wanted you
Keeps
guys to
keeps
be
it
part of
engaged.
it. And
Goodbye.
Comprint, thanks, bro. Oh, we got a new member,
Yep.
again. I love Buck. We appreciate you joining us again. And then Idris N is here. Thank you, Yuma.
Nana
Thank
Dreams,
you for joining us. You're supposed to be on
Comprint.
the podcast, but let me make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay, we appreciate it. So Wednesday, we'll see you guys, and we will bring another awesome topic. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this Friday evening.